The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
You know, there's something exciting about coming to New York, and it's more than just concrete jungles where dreams are made of. It's a racetrack where action is aplenty, the battles are found, and, well, we might have, for the first time in Elbows Out history, a winner in GT3 overall. Yes, I said GT3 overall. There might be LMP2s to be found out and about, but hey, GT3s are bloody quick around here, and when you send them in the boot, who's going to give who the boot? Only one way to find out, and we're going to find out tonight. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here to Elbows Out Racing League. This is going to be the round number 2 here of the Multi-Class Championship 60 here, brought to you by IDI. And this race is especially special because this is the Tony Pintozzi Memorial here at the Glen. Tony Pintozzi, the founder of IDI and bringing IDI to everything in its glory all the way back in 1952, initially known as the Pence and Company Decorators, International Decorators, started as a residential painting business in Chicago, and it's all thanks to Tony. Tony, who gave his heart, his blood, and everything he had into his family, his friends, his employees, and made International Decorators Incorporated what it is. IDI built something worth owning, and if you want to check them out, go to foridi.com. Big shout out, of course, as always, to them for sponsoring this Elbows Out Racing League here as we go through. Drivers still trying to put in qualifying times here around the Watkins Glen course. You see Tyler C. Well, I see Tyler C. sitting still. And, of course, drivers winding things down. About a minute and a half left to go here. And it's not just me in the booth, as always. It's Patrick. Patrick, good evening, my friend. How are you?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. It's awesome to be here back with Elbows Out Racing around this amazing historic track here at Watkins Glen. It's a lot of fun. It's trickier than it looks. The 6 hours of Sebring, which the iRacing version is coming out, I believe, on Sunday. They're doing a virtual 6 hours of the Glen. The IRL one had a bit of complications due to the weather. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case here tonight, but with the prospect of a GT3 Pro car or even a GT3 AM car winning overall today, this is going to be a fun track to watch.
Oh, this is going to be a wild little race to run here, and everyone has put in times that's going to put in times. So you'll notice a couple things different when we go in, and I want to make sure I kind of address these up front. So the one thing you're going to see that's going to be a little bit different is that on the left-hand side, pro drivers now also have a P in front of their name. So that helps the drivers on track in the sim denote pro and am battles as they go through. It also kind of helps me fact check and make sure I've got pro and am classified correctly on the layout. So a big shout out there for that. But hey, still going to be plenty of great battles. And for those of you wondering, yes, there are, again, almost 50 cars showing up this week. So RIP to a certain broadcaster's PC. But qualifying is over. That'll get us into the grid here. And again, it's another big stacked grid here. So we'll get things set up here. And as we get our grid going, it's Antonio Costa who runs things up front with Cody Perodato here in second place. That is your front row for the Tony Pintozzi Memorial here at the Glen. Eric Mack and Jamil Gummer in third and fourth. Kel Hagen and Cameron Dick fifth and sixth, which it looks like Cameron might actually be a GT3 that's showing as an LMP. And then from there, it's Randy Kinney, Malik Bass, Aiden Garcia, and Bob Carey. Actually, no, Cameron Dick is actually running LMP2. He was classified, though, and put in the system as as a pro driver, but he is instead running LMP2. Ian Tanzias will be up on the front row of the GT3 Pros with Tyler Stenick there in second place. Corey Allen, Chris Stewart, Brian Metterly, and Jordan Scarrett will be your top 6 in the GT3 Pro category. From there, it's Martin Merkva, Zachary Nerney, Julius Mashevsky, Mike Sermon, Callan Tobin, James Winkler going through. And then in GT3 AM, this is the big class, so we're going to go through them in a nice little run as we can here as we get ready to go. Short pace laps here. Colin Bourdon, Benjamin Bechtel, Christopher Ondera, Tyler C., I see him in 4th, Max Poe, Nathan Hemperly, Kyle O'Grady, Parker Chiapuzzo, Christian Cardona, Patrick Rich, Matthew Santer-Sierra, David Moore. You need some more? Well, I got more. Philip Kaiser, P13, Shea Perkins in 14th, Doug LaRosa, P15, Dayton McGuire, Graham Lewis, Daniel Panero. From there, Matt Toppin, Andre Wedderburn, Maxwell Woodman C, Seth Vosselman, Dwight Hibbs, Ryan Geckler. Your 24 GT3 AM taking things on today. And this week, we're going to get the GT3 start showing here, but I'm going to ask predictions. Hit me really quick, Patrick. Who you think's going to get what where?
Oh, I mean, last time I came up with a prediction, it was horribly wrong, but I think Cody Peredato is going to have a very strong performance. Currently second in the Drivers' Championship, and he's going to look to try to reclaim that lead as the veteran. Right now, it is rookie driver Jamil Gummer on top of the standings, and I'm pretty sure the veteran of Cody Peredato is going to want to retake that spot.
Only one way to find out. LMP2 comes around. They take the run, and Barney's ready with the green flag for 60 minutes here around the Glen. We're underway. LMP2s take off very well as GT3s will be coming out as well. Let's see how turn 1 fares for anyone. Down into turn 1 they go. 3 wide coming through. LMP2s make it through. How do GT3s go? 2 by 2 they come. And how do they sit? Well, it looks like they're doing pretty well. Everybody's going to survive turn 1. And I do believe that they all have a great run here through turn 1 as we check in on the GT3 battle up front. It is going to be Tyler Stinnett, Corey Allen, Colin Bourdon. These 3 right here going to battle it out very quickly as we get going for 60 minutes.
Indeed. I mean, Tyler Stennick's another driver that's shown very good performances there. He did very strong last season in the Mustang. Now he's got a Mustang right on his gearbox. Now driving the BMW M4 GT3 machine here around the Glen. It's going to be very interesting and very tight racing to see how these drivers go ahead and manage this track. Corey Allen, though, in the number 442 Mercedes, has a really good shot of catching one of these drivers and they mess up. And it's a bit of a wide moment there for Tyler Stenick. And him and Corey Allen are still going to fight side by side, but Chris Stewart is also going to go ahead and get a move. And that's just the beauty of this track. It's a track that's been around since the 50s. And there's so many good places to overtake, but it's really hard to keep that car going in the right direction.
Yeah, you just got to do what you can when you can here. Tyler Stenick will get lucky there because Brian Metterly, his teammate, is right behind as I see somebody running through. It looks like LMP2 fighting has gotten very interesting. Checking in up front with our race leader, Antonio Costa, will lead the first lap here around the Glen. Race laps here go very quick, so first lap done for Antonio Costa. Cody Peredato not far behind, and I see Cameron Dick here trying to make a move in the number 076, looking to make a dive there in the yellow and pink. LMP2 is that Cody Peredato, who is off into the barriers out of turn 1.
Oh, the commentator's curses are already kicking in less than 2 minutes of the way into the race. And he just blinked out of existence, and he's back in the pit. So definitely not the start that Cody Peredato would have really wanted. But, hey, that's just racing sometimes. I mean, the Glen is a very unforgiving track. There's a lot of modes where you can run wide and just put a little too much power down, and ultimately you can spin out quite easily. It happened in the real life Watkins Glen 6-hour race, and it happened here in the 60-minute race here for Elbows Out.
Yeah, and as it comes through and comes around here, Antonio Costa will now have a 2-second lead here on Eric Mack, who's under pressure from Jamil Gummer, who is not far off. Meanwhile, back in the GT3 category here, currently the big battle is going to be coming through with Corey Allen and Chris Stewart battling it out there up in the front. You've got just a swarm of McLarens, BMWs, all trying to chase down this Mustang as it goes around here of Corey Allen. Ian Tanzius is showing as a GT3. He's actually an LMP2. We'll get that fixed here momentarily and get that reset for you.
Yeah, so I mean, pretty much it's going to be a race of attrition here around the Glen. I mean, it's going to be so tight fighting. I mean, we know that the GT3 cars are extremely rapid around the track, like you mentioned early on in the pre-show. And right now, there's a fast lap being set there by Antonio Costa, who's currently in P1 overall in this race here at the Glen. But right now, it is the Mustang of Ian Tanzius leading this GT3 Pro field. He gets a little close to the barrier there. The veteran driver here going ahead and still making a pretty solid statement as he is still leading this race pretty comfortably. But all it takes is one mistake. A gaggle of cars behind, including Corey Allen, Chris Stewart, and Julius Majewski are all sitting there ready to pounce if anything happens to this driver up front.
Yeah, and that is not at all what he wants to see as he goes through. I mean, he's just got to try to hold on, do the best he can as he comes through, and he's doing a fairly good job of it, I'm going to be honest, of trying to keep it together and keep things moving as he goes. I mean, just holding on as much as humanly possible as he brings things through and around. Just keep your eye on him as this race continues, because I don't envy the position he finds himself here. This is a hard place to be as they go through and continue around. Again, checking back in up front here, Jamil Gummer under some pressure by Cameron Dick as they go along and keep this thing moving and grooving here. This gap separated by just a couple of tenths, and it's going to continue to get close as they continue to go through.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really easy to be under pressure on this track because you get such a good slipstream on a lot of parts of this track. It is a very high-speed track, and it's really interesting considering that some drivers use the same setup for this track as they would the Nürburgring, as saw the season finale last season at Elbows Out Racing when he went to the 24-hour layout of the Nürburgring. But it's really easy to get a lot of good slipstreams, and you're going to put a lot of drivers under pressure if you're even remotely within their wing mirrors. And as they already get past one of the GT3 cars, and this is so dicey, but once again, traffic giveth this time, but we all know that traffic can giveth away. And I mean, they say diamonds are formed under pressure, but so are mistakes. So I think pressure management is going to be a key in this race here.
That it is, and it's going to be interesting to kind of watch and see how everyone handles it, because you have drivers like Cameron here who do a great job of just managing under pressure, and you have other drivers that are having a very, very rough go of it, as they say, and as they run through. Everybody kind of just keeping things together here. Checking in with Malik Bass, and Malik Bass is trying to very quickly just hold on as much as possible, keep things going, is doing a great job of doing just that here in the LMP2 category, holding on to a 6th place, just going through. Bob Carey in 8th place in that famous blue and orange. Very well. Well, is it blue or is it more of a purple? I think you could argue it's more purple. It's a lot more purple, isn't it?
It kind of reminds me of that, I don't know what they call it, but there's a esports team, Veloce Esports. They have some, they're basically like the parent team for some of the F1 sim drivers, but they have this weird, like, bluish purple color that sometimes, like, you put it through some pictures and it looks like it's, like, very blue, and other times it looks like it's, like, very purple. So I feel like it's just one of those kind of colors, but from my perspective, it looks a bit blue, but you can argue for either side.
Yeah, I tell you what I can argue for. I can't cut this camera away from Cameron here as Cameron continues to battle and just put pressure down on Jamil Gummer and just continue to battle through. Another battle I don't want to cut away from right here. Colin Bourdon and Tyler Stenick. Ooh. This is Colin Bourdon, the GT3M leader. Tyler Stenick currently sitting in P4 in GT3 Pro. But, I mean, come on. If you're going to make a statement, you're going to make a statement as an AM. Let's keep this thing running. And Colin Bourdon very, very much able to get through. Oh, he goes right here coming through the bus stop and is going to have to fight very hard to get back on track. Loses a lot of time there, but that goes to show you get a little too anxious in the Glen, and that bus stop will come out and catch you quick.
I feel like of every time I've driven this track, if I make a mistake anywhere, if I get any kind of track limit violation and a subsequent penalty, it's going to be at that bus stop. That bus stop chicane is brutal. And a little bit of history facts for you. The bus stop as we know it today, which is known as the inner loop, hasn't been around for very long compared to the rest of the track. It's only been around since 1992 is when they added it. Previously, in previous iterations, the chicane was actually closer towards where the loop is now, or the outer loop. So there's a little bit of a fun fact for you.
I love the fun facts. They're so much fun as we go through and continue to watch Zach Nerney here. Zachary Nerney, if you want to say his full government name. But I know him as Zach. Zach, I love talking to Zach kind of outside of the broadcast. He's a lot of fun to kind of just get to chit-chat with. I'm not going to dox him and say what he does full-time, but I will say he is a car mechanic. So a lot of mine and his conversations have to go regarding the brand that he works on, because we have a lot of very set opinions about said brand and what they do, because, well, I own said brand as owned said brand as my daily driver, and, well, he is a mechanic for said brand, so he's a lot of fun to talk to and kind of just get some info behind the scenes about certain things, but you can see he's under pressure there behind by the number, by one of the AM drivers behind, actually. And they continue to just play loop-de-loop here around Watkins Glen as they go. And as we get our overlay back up here and get things going, we'll check back in on a couple of the battles through the field as that's a dive to the inside. And Zach, that was... I don't know if he just didn't see that coming or what that was, but that was great, possibly crazy defense.
Yeah, I would say that seemed a crazy move to even attempt there from the Corvette. I mean, they say if you go for a gap that doesn't, or if you don't go for a gap that doesn't exist, then you're no longer a racing driver. That is definitely, he gave it the old college try. So, yeah, I mean, at least I didn't end up in a crash, because, I mean, that move can very easily end up as a massive crash. But, I mean, it just shows to the testament of how strong and how extremely talented and quick these drivers are around this track. And more importantly, it shows the sportsmanship and the absolute on-track respect that all these drivers have for one another. I mean, you may think it's a common thing, but it's not as common as you may think, even in a professional series like we have here at Elbows Out.
Yeah, and it looks like a little bit of connection issues there for Zachary as he goes through. Let's check in on a few different battles here through the field that we haven't really looked at. First one being Max Poe here, who is absolutely pouring his way forward here. Colin Bourdon very far up there in the run. Max Poe is pushing his way forward in that number 048. That's the number I run. So very, very good choice there for him. Ben Bechtel in second place by 2 seconds here in the GT3 AM category. So as we watch these two run along, they are going to keep this battle competitive. Christopher Ondera not too far behind. And I want to give you a little fun fact about Christopher Ondera, because this is something I was able to get put in. He's a husband and a father of 3. That is his fun information about himself that he gave us there on the back end when he was setting things up. So big shout out to him goes through, and of course hung out in the booth with us last week, had a lot of fun. He wasn't able to race, so he said, you know what, I'm just gonna kind of hang out and have some fun. And I don't know about you, Patrick, I thought he was a lot of fun. So I'd say, if he ever wanted to come back in sometime, he could here. Malik Bass trying to get a run going at the moment and see if he can't find his way forward. And Malik Bass does so, currently trying to chase down Ian Tanzias down the inside. We're going to go. Ian has the outside line, but the outside turns to the inside down at the bottom of the boot. And it looks like, actually, Malik is going to get passed possibly by Aiden Garcia if he's not careful. He's kind of the meat in the sandwich right now.
Indeed, yeah, Malik Bass is definitely not in a enviable position by any stretch. I mean, he's still putting a lot of pressure onto the car up ahead. But he's got to be careful, because if him and the car in front come into contact, then we're going to see, I mean, he's just going to lose probably several positions and not just the one. So he's got to be really, really careful not to make any major mistakes, and more importantly, not run into the back of the car up ahead. the fin on this car says peace, and he wants to choose peace and not absolute chaos by just running into the rear end of the 059 car up ahead.
Yeah, let's see how he does here as they go through. The 799 behind as well, trying to just chase down this East 191. This is a good battle to keep your eye on as it goes through. And believe it or not, we're already 15 minutes in to this 60-minute race as it goes along. Who is caught up to Eric Mack? The return of the Mack into second place. Well, Jamil Gummer has managed to fend off Cameron Dick, and Eric Mack now will be the one under some pressure here up front in that Gulf livery, trying to fight off third place of Jamil Gummer and hold on to second. Is 4 seconds away from Antonio Costa, though 3.5 seconds to 4 seconds, depending on when that gap resets. And we'll see here what Eric Mack is able to do to catch up. As down the inside he goes around one of the BMWs. The Bimmer stays out of the way. Very good job there from that 143 Seth Vosselman. And now Eric Mack needs to just try to run away with it if he can.
I mean, we know it's possible because Eric Mack, I mean, last season, he put on some very strong stand-up performances when we were running the GTP cars. So I think he's definitely got the pace. But once again, like we talked about last week, is that the LMP2 cars are a bit of a different beast. So in some aspects, they're easier to drive than the GTPs, but in other aspects, they're a bit more tricky to kind of navigate. So we'll just see if Eric Mack has the same pace in this car as he did in the GTPs. Jamil Gummer is a driver that we know for a fact has pace in these LMP2s. He won on his debut race last time at Daytona, current championship leader in the LMP2 category, stuck behind the number 4 Mercedes of Dwight Hibbs there. And a little bit of ping pong action there, contact, and get ping pong around, but that actually ended up better than I thought it was. I thought we were going to see all 3 drivers get spun around like Beyblades.
I fully thought that was going to go so sideways so fast, but no. Able to keep it together, able to keep it moving and grooving better yet. But Jamil Gummer needs to be careful because these are reviewed post-race. And if you do something a little argy-bargy, I'll tell you right now, race control does not look kind to it. But putting the pressure down on Cameron Dick here as Jamil Gummer comes through and Cameron Dick's able to get the way around. And now that opens up battles all over the place as they come through. And Tyler Stenick is backwards in the wall on the exit of the boot. Has to step around. Oh.
Yeah, that was pretty dicey in terms of a rejoin. He's lucky he didn't take anyone out, so that's an interesting one. Luckily he didn't take anyone out, but that might get looked at for an unsafe rejoin.
Rejoin unsafely here, and let's see. So he's sitting stationary. He's got a little bit of room here coming through. He lets a few more cars pass, and then wait. They don't love you like I love you. Wait, and around, and I think the McLaren just panicked, honestly, if I have to give it anything. I almost don't know if he did anything wrong, but you can see he's in the booth now coming through, holding on, and, well, we'll give it a second here to see where he gets going because, remember, 1 mandatory pit stop is required through this race, and he will be the first one to be taking that mandatory pit stop going through. Randy Kinney is in as well, and unfortunately has been in for about 4 minutes, so I think Randy might be out of this race, actually.
Yeah, sometimes pitting early can benefit you really nicely on that strategy front because obviously when it comes to these endurance races, multi-class races in particular, pit strategy is so key as we see a massive gaggle of cars, LMP2s, GT3s, all mixed together like having middle school and high school on the same field trip as these cars are all just weaving through. It's like a no-hezzy server as these drivers are getting so close to each other. I mean, it is no hold barred. These drivers are really getting their elbows out here on this fine Wednesday evening.
Jamil Gummer, talk about jamming up the brakes.
Nope.
Oh. Well, I said talk about jamming up the brakes, and then Jamil Gummer does literally the thing I was just talking about. So That is unfortunate to see. And we'll snap back to a real quick replay of that one.
I mean, considering the aggression, and there's the tap. I'm surprised it didn't affect the Porsche, but he did collect another LMP2 in the process. Haugen, sorry, definitely got caught in that. And he pops into another GT3. These GT3s are bulletproof in this race. I've seen quite a few of them get tapped by these LMP cars and basically just not move in the slightest. Like an average person running right into an offensive lineman for American football. Just full speed, contact, no budging whatsoever. I mean, these GT3 cars are built pretty tough.
That they are, and speaking of GT3s that are built tough, let's look at this battle for the lead right now in GT3 Pro. It's Corey Allen, it's Chris Stewart, separated by about 0.3 of a second here after 20 minutes of racing, and they are going to continue to battle it out really hard here. It's the Mustang versus the McLaren, the Macca, if you will. Not talking about McDonald's for all of our Aussie fans out there, wherever you may or may not be, but talking about, of course, McLarens as they go through. And speaking of which, if you're an Aussie fan, if you're an American fan, if you are a European fan, as we have many, be sure you like, comment, and subscribe here on YouTube. We just surpassed 1,700 subscribers. I think we're at 1,715, if I remember right. And the goal is 2,000 by the end of the year. We just need a little bit of extra help to get there, and you could be the one to help. So be sure to like and subscribe. It does genuinely help the channel, and we do appreciate it. This battle right here, 0.6 of a second separating Corey Allen and Chris Stewart as they go through. This battle is going to continue to get very aggressive, very, very fast. And as they come through the bus stop, I have a feeling this is going to get really, really crazy as they go through and around.
Yeah, we've already seen a ton of aggression here in this race alone. I mean, Jamil Gummer was basically going for every single gap that existed, and I know you're talking about appreciation earlier for all of our spectators, which they deserve all the appreciation because we really do appreciate them here at PTR TV. But I can also really appreciate how awesome this battle is between Corey Allen and Chris Stewart. The Mustang versus the 720 as these cars. I mean, it's so interesting that these cars are such different shapes, but they're equally as competitive around this amazing circuit of Watkins Glen. It just adds extra beauty to unarguably the best sport in the entire world.
Yeah, it's so much fun to watch here as they go through and continue to battle. This battle, you know, following through. And then let's check in with LMP2 here as we're about 25 minutes in at the moment. And it is Antonio Costa still leading by about 2.5 seconds at the moment over Eric Mack. Working his way through traffic, though. That's going to help close things up a little bit because that is Eric Mack there, but actually already lapping several of the LMP2 category cars is, well, these guys are kind of making me a little bit nervous here. Ian Tanzius, Malik Bass, and Aiden Garcia here battling as that was, I believe, that was not Eric Mack. I don't know who that was off on the side, actually, unfortunately. Somebody off to the side there, but plenty of battles still continuing to find their way along here in the run as we go through. Malik Bass trying to battle, and you can see Randy Kenny is out. You have several cars that are running through. Kel Hagen is a lap down. Cody Perodato is a lap down. But you can see that everyone from that top 8 are very, very closely contested.
Yeah, and it's something you just absolutely love to see here in Elbows Out Racing and in racing in general. I mean, that's the one really awesome thing about multi-class racing is that not only do you have to worry about, you know, fighting with the cars behind, you know, trying to gain positions from the cars ahead, you also have a different category having their own intense battles that you have to kind of navigate around. And just like on the I-4 or the I-95 or whatever highway or long road you may take, and there's usually gonna be an accident like the one we just saw there with Julius Majewski and an Acura or Honda, depending on where you are in the world. But yeah, the NSX and the Mustang coming coming together and causing that little incident.
See if we could dial up a replay of this really quick here and get an idea of what caused that moment for Julius here. And here is your replay. So Julius had a little bit of help there from the 0-1-2. The 0-1-2 of Julius helped out the Mustang ahead is what it looks like just happened there actually as they went through. So that is what caused that moment, but thankfully everybody able to mostly get back going and along here as battles continue all the way around and continue to just get real exciting real fast here as we go back to live pictures. Aiden Garcia here in 7th trying to chase down Malik Bass, who is trying to chase down Jamil Gummer, who is not that far away. Meanwhile, I want to jump back to a GT3 Pro battle as they stand, because GT3 Pro here, Chris Stewart and Corey Allen separated 0.3 of a second here. The 515 trying to chase down the 422.
These two have been battling for quite some time, haven't they? The battle of the McLaren versus the Ford. Chris Stewart trying to chase down Corey Allen now in that Mustang up ahead. The 515 against the 422. I mean, these two have been battling it out for several laps now, and it's always awesome to see that kind of battling. But Chris Stewart hasn't really been able to close that gap up enough to really go for a move. I mean, you can send a dive bomb down into turn 1, yes, but that success rate is still pretty low as we see. And oh, here's a bit of a dynamic. Corey Allen's into the pit lane.
Corey Allen into the pits here. It is about pit stop time, so doesn't surprise me a bit as we're hitting half race distance for Corey Allen to say, you know what, nope, this is time. This is where I am going to pit this car. It's definitely a decision that can be made, and sometimes it is a good option just to get yourself out of a battle that you don't want to deal with right now. As he comes through, he's in his box here. Again, remember, in Elbows Out Racing, 4 tires is required. So 4 tires and fuel being taken here.
Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, the undercut strategy, I mean, it's always talked about a lot in racing when you go with the undercut over the overcut strategy, pun entirely intended there. I mean, when you go with the undercut, you want to pit before your opponents. So that way, sometimes, especially if you are in the GTP or now LMP2 category, where if you have a rival in your LMP2 category that is just getting caught up by traffic, then the undercut can really help. Because the big thing about the overcut is that you need your out lap to be exceptional, and also your in lap and all the laps that you don't put in need to be really quick. Otherwise, the undercut is just going to get you. So it's an interesting strategy call, but sometimes, I mean, if you're just dealing with that dirty air and you're not comfortable with how the car is behaving, then sometimes, like you said, just getting into the pits and just getting out of that battle might just save you in the long run.
Indeed that. As we come through, let's check in on GT3 AM. Now, this is a category that we have not looked at yet in depth today, but 24 cars in this category. They deserve all the love in the world as they go through. Parker Chiapuzzo currently trying to put some pressure in on Christian Cardona. This is a battle for P6 in the GT3 AM class as they go through. Colin Bourdon has pulled a large gap there to Benjamin Bechtel, even though I do believe that Colin Bourdon should be showing up as a pro driver and is not. So your class leader, actually Benjamin Bechtel there, but still has 7 seconds over Christopher Ondera. With Tyler C., I see him there in 4th/3rd as they come down the main straight. Christian Cardona trying to make some sort of a move here at the moment. Let's see, look outside, look inside, and Christian Cardona will get that pass on Parker Chiapuzzo very clean into turn 1 going through almost half race distance here. 30 minutes up, 30 minutes down, side by side they come through the S's here. And how does this work out? Well, this is going to be an interesting one to kind of watch here as they go through and swap around. Parker Chiapuzzo back ahead of the BMW of Christian Cardona as Cardona is going to try to look and make a dive into the bus stop. Not my favorite decision to be made, but hey, it's a decision nonetheless. Let's see here. Cardona not able to make the pass through the bus stop, but is going to keep the pressure applied as the LMP2s are making their way around.
Yeah, trying to go for that move in that bus stop is honestly not advisable, but I mean, sometimes you can make it work, but more often than not, you're just gonna run off the track, touch grass, and probably spin it out as the LMP2 cars are fighting tooth and nail as Christopher Andona is getting kind of in the middle there of the battle between Bob Carey and the other LMP2 car. I believe that is Aiden Garcia, maybe? I'm not quite too sure, but Antonio Costa, I mean, I know we haven't really talked about him a lot this race, but I mean, typically, if you don't talk about a driver a lot, they're usually doing pretty good because they're not in the mix and they're just racing off into the sunset. But these two LMP2 cars are now behind Parker Chiapuzio's McLaren as they go on through no issues. So that's always nice to see because, like we've said on this channel a dozen times, almost a dozen times per race, traffic giveth and traffic taketh away.
Yeah, you could say that again. And that car, I can confirm, is actually Cody Perodato, who is a lap down here. So this battle is not for position. This is Cody Perodato just trying to settle in and run. I'll tell you what a battle for position is, though. Jamil Gummer here with the run against Ian Tanzias as they go through, as they follow the Red Bull GT3 through and around, the Red Bull McLaren, the Macca again going through, and this 059 and this 36. Now these are battles for position here. This is the battle for fourth in the LMP2 category as they come through. Keep that battle moving, keep that battle grooving, and they're going to keep this run through. And as we hit half race distance, about half the field has stopped, most of them being the GT3 category. So the LMP2 have not really made pit stops yet unless they had to due to an incident, but everyone else really just sort of holding out and about at this moment as we watch these battles continue along and groove through. And I tell you what, while this runs through and you see everyone sort of deciding go out, stay in, run through, Jamil Gummer fighting around the 054 there of David Moore in the Porsche going through. And while we watch these battles go on, this is a heated battle that's gotten together. Christian Cardona, Parker Chiapuzzo, and Matt Toppin as Chiapuzzo goes up the inside there. Not contact as they exit out of the boot, as they keep things nice and tidy there. And Parker Chiapuzzo will get ahead of Cardona, with Matt Toppin just hanging out right there, third car in line, because these two have been battling so hard at this point. And to be frank, if something happens between those two, that is Patrick Rich sitting backwards on the straightaway. Whew,
that would have definitely caused a few code browns, I'm sure, for the battling duo. And I mean, it's almost like you spoke it into existence there, Brad. Just if something would have happened and suddenly the number 45 Porsche Patrick Rich attempting to do this track on mirror mode, which is a fun mode in Mario Kart, but not so much when it comes to multi-class endurance racing like the absolute cinema we have here at the Multi-Class 60 Championship Series. I mean, that probably put a little bit of a heartbeat skipper inside of the hearts of the battling cars of Christian Cardona and Chiapuzio.
Talk about heart attack material. I don't know if you want to call that a heart attack, a code brown, what you want to call it here, but nevertheless, that was something here. As Jamil Gummer has picked up a track limits penalty. I hate to say it, but has picked up a penalty and will have to serve it here. Jamil Gummer now into the pits there in a Scooby-Doo looking paint scheme. I haven't pointed that out yet today, but very Scooby-Doo-esque looking, as pit lane is absolutely busy coming through here. I don't know if you caught that, but Jamil Gummer's in, Malik Bass is in, Chris Stewart is in, Martin Merkva is in. I mean, things are getting busy. I see Tyler C in the 081 down in right now. And I tell you what, while pit stops are getting underway here and going through, we're half race distance here. I see love for Benjamin Bechtel in the YouTube chat. So, Ben Bechtel, you are going to get to be our Whiplash on board here today. What car are you driving, Ben? Well, you are driving the lovely, beautiful Porsche. And to tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, stick around with us for a minute. We are going to step away here. Enjoy the sights and sounds of Watkins Glen. We'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and that was some on board with a Porsche of Benjamin Bechtel for some temporarily loud engines. I do always enjoy that segment here, brought to you by Whiplash SimCams, because it is just so much fun to kind of get to listen to the cars and what they do here and just sort of take a moment and enjoy the sights and sounds. I think that's something that everyone forgets to do sometimes, is just enjoy the racing here. And there's no better league to do it than, honestly, Elbows Out. So if there's ever a time I can tell you sit back and enjoy, it's definitely Elbows Out here. 22 minutes, 45 seconds left to go here in the Multi-Class 60 Championship, brought to you by IDI. Check out IDI at 4idi.com, bringing you all of this wonderful Elbows Out racing, action here to the track. Antonio Costa, Patrick, he's been leading it since the jump. I don't know what else to say, but just leading it since the jump.
Yeah, he's had some fantastic pace. He's ended off the last season very strongly in that brisk liveried Cadillac back when we were running the GTP cars here, as he's just effortlessly cutting through traffic like a hot knife through butter. And I think that's just been his biggest strength throughout the race. He's been consistent. He's kept it on the track, kept it facing in the right direction, and just went through traffic without any real issues. So even as everybody else is coming into the pits now, with Cameron Dick in P2 making his way to the pits in the 076 LMP2 machine, Antonio Costa, that's just the thing we've noticed about him in recent times, is that he's been consistent, he's been quick, but his biggest strength is going to be traffic navigation.
Yeah, it's amazing to really watch and kind of see how things go here as pit stops continue to cycle around. Currently, closest battle in the almost said the GTP category. The LMP2 category is Malik Bash trying to chase down Ian Tanzius there ahead, or Tanzias ahead, as they go through, as Jamil Gummert now jumps into third, as Cameron Dick is in the pits here, still coming out of the pit lane. We'll see where Cameron comes out in comparison to this car. The return of the Mac, of the number 19 of Eric Mack coming through. I tell you what, the music puns have been thick and heavy this week at PTR TV. If you missed Sunday's broadcast, if you missed last night's broadcast, we'll have a YouTube short coming up, but me and Corey were in the booth last night, and the puns we made music-wise were absolutely ridiculous. And to tell you what, I don't know how much closer you can get between Cameron Dick and Eric Mack, but with a Lamborghini in between, he's not going to be very happy about the position he just found himself.
As is the not-so-age-old adage of PTR TV, especially when it comes to Elbows Out racing, is that traffic giveth and traffic taketh away. And we definitely saw where the traffic giveth Cameron Dick a bit of a hard time here, as he's trying to close that gap to the car up ahead, who is currently in fourth position, of Eric Mack, the number 19 Aston Martin Golf liveried LMP2 machine. He's going to try to close that gap. But when you have a few pesky GT3 cars in the way, then it's going to make things a bit harder. And Eric Mack is not receiving any of that, as there's a Porsche that is completely lateral. That is Andre Wedderburn in the number 151 Porsche, just completely horizontal. And that is one of the worst spots to be horizontal. But we've seen a few incidents there where GT3 cars have been just kind of parked at that specific part of the track.
That exit to the boot is rough, and that is about the best way I can phrase that, is that exit to the boot can be rough onto the backstretch. If you don't nail that right, you can really have problems. And really, I'm shocked we haven't seen more moments there through turn 11, turn 10, turn 11. I expected to see a bit more of an issue come through there, but thankfully we haven't here as they go along and continue to battle. Still plenty of battles all the way through the track here with 18 minutes left to go. Tell you what I see. I see Tyler C. right on the back of Benjamin Bechtel, who we rode on board with earlier. And Benjamin here will be looking to keep this separate and keep that gap opened up as much as possible, as behind them is Callan Tobin in the 923 who would also like to have a bit of a swipe at these positions if possible. Won't get him any higher in class. He's currently 8th in the pro category, but that would be nice. Porsche on Porsche violence through turn 10 into turn 11. Side by side, they get together, and that is going to be Benjamin Bechtel and Tyler C. still holding on where they're at, and I see Tyler C. trying to get past here, going to try to go up the inside into turn number 1, and I thought he was going to put the bumper into Benjamin Bechtel there as Benjamin will defend strongly. Tyler C. will be forced to cede the position to Callan Tobin, and the Mustang there will get his way up into P20 overall.
I feel like the P in PTR TV stands for puns, as many puns as we've been throwing around here in the booth all week between myself, you, and Corey. But right now, Callan Tobin is going to try to throw his Mustang into P7 in class at the moment. And Tyler is seeing this battle up ahead, and he's hoping one of these two makes a mistake so that they can go ahead and just jump into that position. But, I mean, as we're seeing from Tyler's perspective here at the moment in the number 81 Porsche, who is currently 4th in class, seeing it from multiple different angles. And now there's a 4th car just directly up ahead as we go ahead and enter the boot. Going into the last few corners on the lap. And we have caught up to a fellow Mustang in the field. That is Mike Serman, one of the GT3 Pro drivers, currently 7th in his class. And he's got quite a few GT AMs right up the gearbox of this Ford Mustang.
Yeah, and remember, Callan Tobin is a pro here in the mix, but is wanting to chase down Mike Sermon here for a battle for P7, but has to clear Benjamin Bechtel there in the Porsche, because that is going to be one of the problem positions that you find here, is that if he can't clear him, well, that produces a whole nother set of problems here as they go through this battle. Continuing to heat up as we have plenty of battles heating up through the field. Malik Bass is still trying to chase down Ian. Is a Lamborghini off on the side. That Lamborghini is, I believe, going to be Maxwell Woodman C. And, well, as you can see, Woodman C is missing the rear bumper of that Lamborghini. The Midas touch, if you will, was not there, but don't miss out here on the bus stop coming through. Callan Tobin forcing the way around the inside of Benjamin Bechtel. Keep it clean, keep it tidy, guys. Different classes, but battle it hard. Benjamin Bechtel, I see Tyler C. trying to make a move up the inside. Wants to get that pass done, going down the hill through the boot, and cleanly there, up onto the podium places of AM.
Yeah, Tyler saw an opportunity, and he took it. He is up into a podium spot now. Now he's got 2 Mustangs up ahead, so this will be a fun one to watch. And one of the beauties of Elbows Out Racing here is that the Pro cars and the AM cars are in the same category, technically, in terms of cars, so they can battle out all day long. The blue flags do not apply to Pro and Pro AM. They do apply when there's an LMP2 in the mix, but they can still fight tooth and nail if they want. They can really get their elbows out as they try to defend their positions and their respective classes, and it just adds to the beauty of multi-class racing here at the Glen, as we see an LMP2 go ahead and make a pit stop. But right now we're watching this very, very, very beautiful battle between the Mustangs here in GT3 Pro.
That we are. 14 minutes left to go here in this battle as they go through. Callan Tobin still on the battle with Mike Sermon. Goes to the inside. Inside turns to outside. Outside turns to inside. Let's see how they settle this one out down the backstretch as they come through. They're going to run down towards the bus stop. How do they handle this one? Well, as they come through side by side, looky there on your screen, they come through and they sort that one out very quickly, and Callan Tobin will get the advantage ahead there of Mike Sermon, and we'll get a very, very good pass done there, and Callan Tobin finds his way up to P7 as Cameron Dick, Eric Mack are just behind there, and Eric Mack runs off track going out down the hill towards the boot. Cameron Dick now up into second place, 9 seconds away from Antonio Costa here. But I'll tell you what the problem's going to be here. 9 seconds away, 13 minutes left to go. I mean, you do the math. I don't know if that's doable or not.
I feel like we have said that in the past, and then insert driver in the lead has a bit of a moment and just gets wiped out. So anything can happen, but if Antonio Costa doesn't make a mistake, then, I mean, second place is really the best that either Cameron Dick or Eric Mack can hope for. I mean, considering the standings in this championship right now, I mean, getting a podium spot would do wonders for both of these drivers here. So, I mean, if we just go and take a look at the standings, Eric Mack is down in 6th. So getting P3 would be a magnificent result for Eric. I mean, he's going to try his best to get second. Second would definitely be better than third, but it will still be an improvement from his finish last week.
Now let's just wait and see how this goes. Consistency across the season is what gets you where you want to be in the end, and that is going to be the big key here as Eric Mack fights through that GT3 battle that we were watching earlier, gets a very good run there, gets past Callan Tobin without too much of delay, but is now going to have a 2-second gap back to Cameron Dick as they come through the bus stop here, keep things going, and Cameron Dick will just keep moving there through around, and you can see very quickly just continuing to try to stretch that gap, open things up there on those Michelin tires as quickly as possible here, and doing a great job of it. Checking back in here in GT3 Pro competition as they stand. Again, we've been keeping our eye on that Callan Tobin, Mike Sermon battle as they go, but up front, Chris Stewart here has been a dominating force, has Colin Bourdon just behind. Again, Colin Bourdon showing in the AM category, but is indeed in the pro category here. Brian Metterly in 3rd, trying to hold on there. Corey Allen down in currently what is actually 4th place, but it shows as 3rd. Tyler Stanek there not far behind as well. So this pro category, very mixed up in the run as they go, and you know, they are keeping things just nice and consistent through the way as they can, and just trying to really keep things moving. Is back in AM. Well, Benjamin Bechtel and Tyler C., they have decided they're not done. They want to give us a bit more of a show here in the AM category.
Like a TV show that has countless amounts of episodes, these two Porsches have had countless amounts of battles here on the Glen here. Benjamin Bechtel, Tyler C., these two have been phenomenal on the night, but there is still a little under 11 minutes to go in this race here at Watkins Glen. And I mean, these two drivers have been putting up a fantastic show. Clean racing, a lot of respect, a lot of sportsmanship between these two fierce competitors. Now, can Tyler see the gap and make a move going into the boot or into the bus stop? Yes, he does. He now is up into P3. Benjamin Bechtel is going to have to try to get past again. But, I mean, these drivers have been fighting quite consistently, and it's a miracle that neither one of them have wrecked into each other yet.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the pinnacle of racing here in Elbows Out. They're keeping great, respectful runs on each other here. They know they're battling for the 2nd and 3rd place in class. Again, Colin Bourdon technically should be up in 2nd place in pro. So they know they're battling for P2, P3 in class. I mean, they're being nice and respectful with each other. They're just giving the room where it needs to be given, but putting enough pressure on where, depending on how things go, can kind of switch things up. You could see Benjamin Bechtel there being very crafty in the racing line that he's taking and really just looking to find something different where it can be found. Kind of take an alternate line here, take an alternate line there, and can that help you find a little bit more time? Well, certainly you can try as we go through, and Benjamin Bechtel will continue to try to get this run down as quickly as possible, doing a great job here of keeping this battle competitive. Again, this is 2nd place, even though it says 3rd and 4th. This is the battle for P2, P3. Great run there out of the first turn. Now they're going to battle it out very quickly here through the S's. Let's see, side by side, inside Tyler C., outside Benjamin Bechtel swaps around outside to inside, keeps going inside to outside. Benjamin Bechtel now showing as the car ahead against Tyler C. And let's see how they handle this through the bus stop. Well, plenty of room given there, and Benjamin Bechtel will try to run away with it here. Again, keeping that fight going again and again there. And now Tyler C. will drop back here, breathe for a moment, but no, Tyler C. actually spun. Tyler C. sitting in possibly the worst position possible on the exit of the bus stop.
Yeah, now he does the smart thing and gets away. He can see that that is not a good spot to sit. About to pull out in front of an LMP2 there of Jamil Gummer. But Tyler C is able to get back into it. But, I mean, considering how hard himself and Benjamin Bechtel were fighting tooth and nail, I kind of expected a moment like that to happen sooner or later. But, oh yeah, I just put a bit too much power and just lost it under throttle there. So, I mean, good job for not immediately reacting and potentially running into one of the other GT3s that just drove on by. So he did the right thing, waited for a good opportunity to back up into the grass, and yep, no contact. But you really got a feel for Tyler because he was having a fantastic race, fantastic battle, fighting for second place in the GT3 AM category, and it just came all undone there in the closing stages of this race.
And that's all it takes is just one little misstep through the bus stop. I mean, those curbs are dangerous, and you have one little moment there, and it can spell disaster as Ian Tanzius tries to get past that number 12 BMW of Nathan Hemperly, and Nathan leaving just enough room there for Ian to get by. And as Hemperly is now going to settle back in here and keep running through, you see running around there, he is showing as fourth in class now. Actually, that is P3 again because Colin Bourdon is classed in the wrong class. Colin Bourdon is second in GT3 Pro. Christopher Ondera continuing to run these battles around and through, leading in the GT3 AM category, and let's see what he can find through. He'd love to have a win here today, would Christopher Ondera, and I think I'm not going to say anything, but 5-second lead to Benjamin Bechtel. He's got to be feeling pretty good here at the moment.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he does, but like we said earlier, anything can happen in racing. It could be the stray commentator's curse. It could be a moment like what we saw with Tyler C earlier, with just a bit too much power coming out of the bus stop or another part of the track. We've seen a lot of spins exiting the boot, where Christopher Ondera and a gaggle of other GT3s and a lone LMP2 are at the moment. So, I mean, we've seen a lot of spins here in both classes, but the GT3s have seemingly had a bit of a harder time around this track compared to the LMP2s. I feel like we've seen more incidents from these GT3 cars. So, I mean, if he wants to keep that gap, he's got to just keep the car facing in the right direction first and foremost.
Yeah, and I mean, Christopher Ondera is a masterclass of patience in the car. So let's see what happens here as he continues along. Checking back in with our race leader. 6 seconds the gap here for the leader, Antonio Costa, over Cameron Dick. And we'll just keep moving and grooving at the moment. And just, again, just smooth, consistent, steady. And that number 13. Unlucky number 13, but looking pretty lucky here today as he goes through in the LMP2 category.
Indeed, yeah, I mean, Antonio Costa, I mean, you want to talk about Christopher Ondera being a masterclass of patience. Antonio Costa is the same thing when it comes to consistency and overall just keeping it clean. I mean, he's led pretty much from lights out and pretty much went off into the distance and never really had to look back. I mean, nobody's ever really been close enough to challenge Antonio Costa here. And, I mean, here's another interesting fun fact, is that the three drivers that we have on the overall podium for LMP2, not a single one of them were on the podium last time out. Last time on the podium, we had Jamil Gummer, Cody Perodato, and Kjell Haugen. So, the best finish of any of the drivers on the podium at the moment was Antonio Costa in P5, Eric Mack just behind him in P6, and Cameron Dick wasn't in the last race. So, interesting how a season can change, but once again, consistency wins championships. So, even if Antonio Costa only wins this race and then just doesn't keep up this same or similar levels of performance, then he's not going to be able to get the championship.
Yeah, this is going to be such an interesting run to watch through the season, and a very, very good season coming here as it goes. So kind of looking through our season calendar, I know we haven't talked about it a lot, but this is round 2 here of the 2025 Season 3 Multi-Class 60 series here. Fuji is next week, the no chicane layout. And then it is a 90-minute race on the 9th of July at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. You must say it with a very strong inflection whenever you say Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It's the Endurance Pits layout for a 90-minute race. And then it's CTMP, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, for a 60-minute race on the 16th of July. Going into July 23rd at Road America, another 90-minute layout. So we have 3 races for 90 minutes this season. It's July 9th, July 23rd, and then our final round in September. And then Silverstone, Long Beach, Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta, as you probably know it, VIR in August. Oh, I can't wait for VIR in August. I love Virginia International Raceway. And then Hockenheim, the Hockenheim Ring, on August 27th, with our season ending September 3rd at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for a 90-minute race around the road course layout. It's going to be very, very, very exciting to watch. I can't wait to see how that goes. And we know that some of the sessions may have rain. Specifically, Road Atlanta may be a rainy session, depending on what's going on. And I'll tell you right now, if it rains at Road Atlanta, that's going to be a brutal, brutal race for everyone involved.
Yeah, getting grip on the track is tricky enough when it's dry on slicks, and then you throw water into the mix, and I mean, some drivers adapt better to the rain than others. There's, I like to call them rain merchants, drivers that do exceptionally well in the rain, so it may be a great equalizer for the season. So, I mean, some drivers just do better in the rain, as we do get the white flag here, and it is the final lap of this race, and boy, oh boy, what a race it is, and also what a season we have in store. Out of all those tracks that we listed here, they're all bangers, so I'm looking forward to every race of the season.
Yeah, seriously, this is going to be such a good season here with Elbows Out here on PTR TV. Again, brought to you by IDI. Check out www.4idi.com for more info on them. This race has been amazing here. I am so excited for what this season has in store. Behind the scenes, Elbows Out has been such a great partner to the channel with working with us behind the scenes. Again, this is a different style compared to what we normally do on the channel. If you've been a fan of PTR TV for a long time, you know that oval racing is kind of the bread and butter of the channel, but I really do enjoy having a multi-class setup here on the channel. Of course, we had Red Sox Racing League for a long time, and then here we are. Antonio Costa coming down around and up the hill will go onto the backstretch, has just a couple more corners left to go through turns 9, through turns 10, into turn 10, through turn 11, out of turn 11, and then the exit of turn 11 to get to the start-finish line. Goes through, we'll find the checkered flag. Antonio Costa is your winner here in the Tony Pizzoni Memorial Race here at the Glen. Chris Stewart will be the next car to come across the line and will bring in the win for GT3 Pro category racing. Christopher Ondera, about half a lap left here, and will have the win in GT3 AM, is currently at the bottom of the boot and will be coming up.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a fantastic race for all these drivers, but I mean, a big shout out to Antonio Costa for doing such a fantastic job. But from being in the booth last week, Christopher Ondera has had a very strong start to his season. He was fantastic in the commentary booth, and he's been fantastic on track here today. So, I mean, this has been a very well-deserved victory here for Christopher Ondera, despite the fact that the Tommy Tower says he's in second. He is not. He's about to come across the line. He's only got one more tricky corner left to navigate. And then he is going to go ahead and take the checkered flag. Christopher Ondera wins in the GT3 AM category.
What a great race. And I got to give a shout out to Benjamin Bechtel, who was only 1 second behind there trying to get the run through. So big shout out has to be given there. And as everyone comes through, Antonio Costa taking the victory lap here. Let's go through our full screen of results. We're going to go through them just as one big happy family field. We're not going to separate it out between the LMP2 and Pro and AMs. And let's check out these results as we have our winner pace around. Antonio Costa by 8 seconds over Cameron Dick wins in LMP2 category, with Eric Mack, the return of the Mack, in P3, 13.2 seconds off. Aiden Garcia in 4th. Malik Bass finds P5. Jamil Gummer in 6th place, the Polish driver, with Ian Tanzius in P7. Bob Carey in 8th, and Cody Peridotto in P9. Chris Stewart finds the win in GT3 Pro. And then from there, it is going to be Colin Bourdon in P11, 2nd place in GT3 Pro. Brian Metterly, Corey Allen, Tyler Stanek, Martin Merkva, Zachary Nerney, Callan Tobin, Mike Sermon, rounding things out there. That is all the way through 8th place in GT3 Pro. Christopher Ondera brings home the win in GT3 AM, with Benjamin Bechtel in 2nd place in GT3 AM, with Nathan Hemperly rounding out your podium there. Matt Toppin, Parker Chiapuzzo, Tyler C. sees his way 24th overall, which was P7 in class after a hard-fought battle up front. Kyle O'Grady, and then Daniel Pinero, Shea Perkins, Philip Kaiser, Dayton McGuire, Philip Keyser or Kaiser, I'm not sure which. Dayton McGuire in 29th, and Patrick Rich finds P30. Continuing through the field here, Christian Cardona, Julius Mashevsky, Dwight Hibbs, Doug LaRosa, Andre Wedderburn, Matthew Santerciero, Maxwell Woodman C. Well, I see Maxwell Woodman C in the 523 and P37. Ryan Geckler, P30A, a DNF for James Winkler, for David Moore. From there, it's Kel Hagen, it's Jordan Scarrett, Max Poe, Seth Vosselman, Randy Kenny, and Graham Lewis. 46 cars attempted to take on this 60 minutes of the Glen. And in the end, there were several finishers. I think it was 40 overall. 39 actually finished when it was all said and done. So what do you say we go find someone and we get an interview with them? Who we got available ready to go here for this post-race show as we are done, dusted, and through? Let's get our overall race winner in the booth first. Antonio Costa, are you around, my friend? You are. Jump up in this booth, buddy. Antonio Costa, you are invited in. Where did he go?
He is here.
Antonio, hello, my friend.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good for us. I gotta ask, how's it going for you to be winning at the Glen?
Oh man, it's great. I mean, I was here this weekend, and it's just great to be able to win here in the league.
So talk me through the race here, man, because it seems like you just sort of took off and you were gone, and there was absolutely nobody who could catch you or do anything. Is that kind of how it felt for you?
I definitely think there was some people that were close on pace. It was definitely down to the traffic, I'll tell you that. I mean, there's so many awkward places to take over this track, and it's definitely down to the traffic. I know my teammate Cody spun. He would have been right behind me for most of the race too, which is unfortunate. But yeah, definitely the traffic had a big part to play.
Awesome, man. Well, it was great to kind of watch and see how the traffic goes. But of course, as we know, plenty of things to be found here coming up through the rest of the season. Next week, I just read this off about 5 minutes ago and I already blanked on it. It's Fuji next week. How do you feel about Fuji? And do you think it's back-to-back wins in the cards for you, man?
I mean, I love Fuji, especially the no chicane layout, which I'm pretty sure we're doing.
Yep.
great track. I'm excited. I know I have some good pace there, so we'll see how it goes.
Awesome, man. Well, I can't wait to see how it goes there. That number 13, I always say the 13's unlucky unless you're Taylor Swift. But of course, you managed to write your name into the winner book tonight. Anyone you want to thank? Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go? And hopefully, you are somewhat of a Taylor Swift fan there, and don't absolutely despise her because I just made a Taylor Swift pun.
Yeah, just to my parents, and then the guys at Apex Racing Academy for helping me with the setups.
Awesome, man. Well, it was awesome to watch you win here. Congratulations, and we'll catch up with you later.
Thank you.
All right, Patrick, I'm going to give this one to you. I think this one is only appropriate to come through. Let's bring in one Mr. Christopher Ondera, the winner in the GT3 AM category. And I want to know, I want you to interview him, and let's see how this goes.
All right, so Mr. Ondera, from being excellent to the commentary booth to being excellent on track, how does it feel to get a win here at Watkins Glen tonight?
It feels absolutely amazing. So happy to be able to bring home the win and the Tony Pintozzi Memorial. Super happy for the Pintozzi family. So excited to get the win today.
So, do you think that this is really, because we know you missed the last round hanging out here with us, but do you think that this round was a massive motivation booster for the rest of the championship?
Absolutely. Every race is, but anything on American soil always feels more important. So as I was disappointed to miss Daytona last week, I was glad to get a win in New York for sure.
All right, so I got two more questions here for you. So, like we said earlier, Fuji no chicane is next week. So, how do you feel that track is going to stack up for you? Because there's a lot of straights and a lot of overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, there definitely is. There's every kind of turn there. There's lots of spins on cold tires. I've already done some practice. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I believe that the end of the race is going to be night. I believe so, which always spices things up.
All right, last but most certainly not least, before we let you go, Christopher, do you have anyone you want to shout out or thank tonight?
Yeah, everybody at IDI again. Big shout out to you guys for sponsoring the league. Thank you.
All right, well, go ahead and enjoy your night. And once again, congratulations on the class win, Christopher.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. So that was Christopher Ondera, and that's going to leave us with one more place to fill here. Chris Stewart floating around, and I tell you what, you and me are going to get along with Chris Stewart very well, because the first thing I see from Chris Stewart is a Ferrari profile picture. So I have a feeling that Chris Stewart has some love there, but isn't driving a Ferrari. But hey, Chris Stewart, talk me through your race here, winning in GT3 Pro in the McLaren. How's it feel?
I mean, it feels pretty good, man. I got to tell you, I was really motivated tonight. I had a blizzard right before the race started, and I'm lactose intolerant. So I did my best to get from A to B as fast as possible so business could happen. You know what I'm saying?
That is the best motivation I've ever heard for a race ever. I had a blizzard and I'm lactose intolerant. That's going on a quote wall. That's amazing. So, Chris, obviously has business happened, or does it still need to happen? Are we on a time crunch here?
You know what? Crunch is an operative word, but we can go as long as you like.
All right. Well, we won't go too long here. I see #NeverLift on the back of your car in very small letters. But I got to ask you, how did it feel when you were in the position you were in there? Of course, you had LMP2s going through. You had Colin Bourdon that was consistently just a couple of seconds back, man. Never lift. That's the motto.
Amen, brother. Look, Colin, respect, brother. Unfortunately, I got an extra lap of fuel, so the gap should have even been bigger, if we're being honest with ourselves. But yeah, I had a great time. Love the multi-class. The respect of the people in this league is unbelievable. And so you're really always confident here having a GTP in previous seasons, LMP2 in this season behind you, because you know you can just race and not get cleaned out. So I was very confident. really from start to finish. Had a great time, and can't wait to crush them in Fuji next week again.
Awesome, Chris. So you're feeling confident in Fuji. Obviously, you're going to have a bit more of a challenge there with the success ballast coming in. What's your goal for carving through traffic in Fuji? How are you going to do it?
Yeah, so thankfully this year that doesn't apply to the pros, so I'm allowed to qualify next week, which I'm excited about. And yeah, I get my teammate back next week as well. I was really sad to miss Daytona. My teammate Peter Nodwell was representing for SimCity Racing last week, and we'll both be out there tearing it up next week and just getting after it. So I'm excited. I like Fuji quite a bit. It does seem to be a pretty good McLaren track, and yeah, can't wait.
Awesome, man. It's going to be fun to watch. But before we let you go here to go celebrate the win and obviously take care of business when business needs to be taken care of, anyone you want to thank, anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, I definitely want to shout out SimCity Racing, all the guys back at the shop. Love them. And everybody watching on stream. We had about 50, 60 people watching tonight as we crossed the checkered flag, or crossed that line P1. So appreciate everybody watching live on Twitch and YouTube.
Awesome, Chris, man. Congratulations. And we'll catch up with you next week in Fuji. Sounds like you're confident. So we'll see if we see you again.
Always. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Well, Patrick, tell you what, Chris Stewart's confident. Christopher Ondera absolutely loves it. And Antonio Costa was feeling pretty good. I'd say a win, and a win all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a massive motivation booster. I mean, especially for Christopher Ondera, he didn't even compete in the last round of Daytona. He's bummed to miss Daytona, but then he came back firing on all cylinders and got a very well-deserved win in the GT AM category. So I think we got a very spicy season ahead of us.
All right, man. Well, this is awesome to go through. I love this season. I love this league, and I just can't wait to see what happens next week in Fuji. But of course, to get to Fuji, we got to get through the rest of this week, which tomorrow it is going to be the Area Pro Series at Bristol. And if you missed last night's race at Bristol, I'll tell you what, it was a banger. Tomorrow night, it will be Hunter and Corey in the booth for an absolutely beautiful run. And then we go Sunday night with Triple Bypass yet again. And then again, we'll continue things going on and around. So New Hampshire is the Sunday night race for Triple Bypass Racing. And I think it's going to be an exciting race there. But of course, to get to there, we had to get through here. So this is where we're going to sign this one out. 37 laps around the Glen after 60 minutes. Great run all the way around. But on behalf of Patrick, on behalf of everybody here at PTR TV, and on behalf of the league itself, Elbows Out Racing, my name's Brad. We've taken you start to finish. Be sure to join us for the next one. We'll take you start to finish yet again. Good night.